If you clicked on this video, this is most likely your Treasure Wars experience. But hey, I'm glad you're here, because today I'm going to help you get a lot better at Treasure Wars. As you probably know, I'm not the most known for my PvP, but I know some people who are very well known for their PvP, and especially their Treasure Wars ability. The first person I ended up playing with is Hikari. Hikari is one of the up-and-coming content creators who will most likely get YouTube rank in the near future. He is known as being a leaderboards grinder and being a specialist in Treasure Wars trios and squads. One thing that Hikari put a lot of emphasis on is always maxing your generators.
I would say it's efficient to get like gen upgrades, so like you wouldn't have like a problem of like not having enough gold. It's always, there's no bad thing from just upgrading your gens.
Okay. In Treasure Wars solos or duos, it is always a priority to get the people right next to you. Right after we kill the team right next to us, this is what Hikari suggested we do. Okay, so what would you say? What would you do from here? We just got them on this map, for example. What would you do?
Yeah, I would always like go for like a gen upgrade.
Okay.
Because there's always no harm in like upgrading your gens. I would see very few cases where you just ignore your gen upgrade.
This brings me into the next key point that Hikari talked about, which is taking risks that you have a high probability of winning.
I would like analyze the situation. I actually think I can get it. I would base it upon my own abilities, like how confident I am.
There are certain times where you want to let your treasure go, and there's certain times where you don't want to let your treasure go and you want to defend people from getting it. Gray is side rushing us right now.
Yeah, I would. Since we're both not near the treasure, I would just let our treasure break. It's gonna be risky if you just like basically jump off just so you can have a chance of protecting your treasure.
The biggest thing that I got from Hikari was how he handled the situation once he lost his treasure and was on the run. With about 20 minutes left in the game, I ended up dying. Oh, I got knocked off. 3 players on blue team who had a treasure versus Hikari who did not have a treasure. The key thing that Hikari did was step back, try and gather some resources, try and get a block breaker boombox, and attack blue team, try and get their thing. After gathering some resources, he went in to try and attack blue, get their treasure. He used the boombox. It ended up working, but they played very good defense and he had to run away. Rather than be aggressive and get the treasure, he decided to step back, regain some health, try and get some arrows and snowballs, and hold off the situation before going right back in again. The next 5 minutes became like a manhunt. 1 player had diamond armor, 2 had iron. By the end of it, 2 players had diamond armor. They were all hunting him down and he was on the run the entire time. He was able to use his movement and his block placing to really avoid some of these people until he did get to deathmatch where the other treasure broke. Hikari ended up winning this game mode after being 1v3 without a treasure for 10 minutes. If you lose your treasure or your teammates die early on, be patient. Take things slow, gather resources, and you'll be good to go. So the next person I decided to reach out to for some advice is the one and only MJ Owns You. MJ is one of the QA testers for the Hive. He has a very big following on his Twitch and also his YouTube as well. With MJ, we decided to break down some solos Treasure Wars gameplay.
After I get my 5 gold, the first thing I always do is I get wool and I never cover my treasure, ever. I'm going to quickly get his treasure, block his entrance, steal his gold, and void. So for instance, once I won that very beginning trade against that level 100 sweat that felt like they had a really high CPS, I immediately knew that before they respawned, my only option was getting their treasure, stealing their resources, and voiding. And then I knew the second that I respawned, I was going to buy 2 swords and blocks. After my neighbor was dead and I saw that I wasn't getting side rushed, I made a beeline towards mid. I was the only person in that game until the very end to have emeralds. Since I killed my neighbor and rushed mid, I'm now rushing them with a diamond sword, an ender pearl, and 12 snowballs. A lot of Treasure Wars is knowing what your opponent has. All right, I'm planning this out. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to quickly block this so that they can't get into their ender chest. They're probably just gonna run. I got their treasure. Yeah. I'm just gonna put him in the corner. He out-traded me 1 hit, 2 hits. I need to back off. Hopefully I'm going to use his aggression. Oh boy. For instance, I was in a fight with a really good player, and we had the same loot. We both had iron armor, we both had a diamond sword, we both had snowballs. Now, instead of risking it and trying to work back that extra hit, I decided to retreat and play it safe because I knew that I was lower than him. While he pursued and was still able to kill me, really switching up your gameplay instead of doing the same thing like going back for more snowballs or rushing mid or running. I totally switched up my gameplay and I bought a bow. When I know he wasn't expecting it because I got him down to 6 hearts before he even knew what to do, and eventually he made up his mind. He went to the other island, bought some ender pearls, but by that time it was too late. I got him down to 2 hearts, I was shooting him, and then he failed his pearl.
Now MJ and I go over some minor tips, but they all make a huge difference.
One thing to note is you might be wondering why I don't cover my treasure. There is a very big advantage to whoever gets to this island first. As you can see, you're there first and you're lower than me. You're an entire block lower than me, which means you're going to be able to get hits a lot easier on me than I would on you. So another thing you might notice is that when I'm MJ bridging, my last block, I jump and place 1. That just makes it that much more time consuming for whoever is trying to get my treasure to get my treasure. Instead of freely being able to jump on the bridge, they have to put an extra block or 2. And sometimes they don't have that, which means then they have to mine the block. I see some people using snowballs in a pretty silly way when you think about it. For instance, someone might, start snowball spamming here.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just a waste. The only time I ever snowball spam, and that means truly holding down right click, just spamming snowballs, is when the enemy is close to an edge. Or let's say I'm down to 1 heart, you're chasing me. Okay, so start chasing me. If I just need to make some distance between us, I might snowball spam a few just so that gap gets even bigger. Really, people should just think about snowballs as a way to push your enemies around. They don't do damage. That's how I use them. This might be hard for some of you to hear, but don't be Potato Pie 25. Okay, if you're using scroll wheel, you're doing something wrong. I have every single slot in my hotbar assigned to a hotkey. It helps you drastically because instead of scrolling and looking at your hotbar, it becomes muscle memory. CPS is very overrated in my opinion.
Agree.
I have 7 CPS, but even with 7 CPS, I can still easily triple stack while full sprinting. Triple stacking is a very useful tool just for not only getting over your opponents, but making it so that they no longer can freely go the way that they were intending to. It's little tricks on each map. For instance, Turris. How many blocks do you think it takes to get to this little mini island?
3.
Correct. However, it's not a bridge. It's like this. It's all about stalling and wasting as much time as possible. You know what I mean? So if you're able to get to mid like this,
I beat MJ owns you, not clickbait. YouTube recommends you watch one of these 2 videos. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching.